Hello my friends, I'm Victoria. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. Today is October 30th, so that means Halloween is almost over and we are heading into November. So that means I'm going to go over my November TBR with you all. I have a lot of books on my list this month. Surprisingly, just as many as I did for Halloween month. So I don't know how this has happened. It has spiraled and I have so many books on my list. I don't know if I'm going to get to all of these. I'm almost pretty positive I cannot. A list of books that I'm trying to get to that I have checked out or on hold, mainly in Libby. You know how it is. I feel like every month that's the same thing. Trying to read all of my Libby loans before they expire and all my new holds, and it all works out pretty well for me. Also, November is where I start to read a few more cozy, like sweet kind of things, more fantasy, and going from like spooky season where I'm reading like a lot of horror or things, still some cozy things, but that are more like spooky Halloween based. November, of course, I still read a ton of horror and thriller and those kinds of things, but I do tend to throw in a few more fantasy in there. I mean, I'm not afraid to say that I think I have a really amazing list for November. So I hope you find some good options within this video. And yeah, let's get started. I'm just gonna start off with the ones that like everyone is gonna be reading in November, and that is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. It is the sequel to Fourth Being, the second book in the series, and I did really enjoy Fourth Being, and it kind of like revived my love for fantasy a little bit. I felt like I was in a huge fantasy slump. Like every fantasy I read, I was kind of like bored with. Fourth Being kind of like resparked that joy that fantasy gives you. So I really loved it for that, and I am excited about the second installment. So I don't know what Iron Flame is about. It's picking up where the Fourth Wing left off, and it's a long one. It's 28 hours. Wow. Yes, that's long. It's a big one, but I am excited and I can't wait. I have it on hold already in Libby through one of my libraries, and I actually was like one of the first people to put it on hold, so I should get it on release day. So I'm super excited about that, and maybe I will even like feature it in a reading vlog, and then maybe it could be just like a long weekend reading vlog where I just read that book, since it is 28 hours. So yeah, we shall see. And then the next one that everyone else is also going to be reading is Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldree. Now, or Baldree, I hope I'm saying that correctly, but this is the prequel to Legends and Lattes. Everyone loves Legends and Lattes. I liked it. I didn't think it was like my favorite thing ever, but it is definitely cozy and perfect for like Thanksgiving pre-holiday time. So I'm excited about this prequel, and it sounds a little bit more interesting to me, honestly, compared to Legends and Lattes, because we have like a library instead of a coffee shop. So I am very excited about it, and I can't see how it can really be bad. Like, I just think it'll be a nice, fun, cozy time. Like probably like the perfect book to read Thanksgiving week. Next is a horror that I am so excited about. Definitely one of the most anticipated books of the year for me, and that is Nestlings by Nat Cassidy. Now, I absolutely loved Mary by this author, and if you haven't read Mary, you should definitely pick it up. It's so, so good. This one, it says that it's like a mix of Rosemary's Baby and Salem's Lot. Now, Rosemary's Baby, as you know, one of my favorites of all time. So like anything within that arena will for sure hit for me. Like, I am just so excited about it. But essentially we have this couple, and they recently had a baby, and the wife had some really large complications during the birth and is actually left paralyzed. So an absolutely horrible situation. But they end up winning a apartment in Manhattan, in this building, like such an amazing opportunity, and they take it. At first they were like a little bit apprehensive because of like the accessible access of it, but they end up taking it. Things start to go down. It also says that like there's something going on with the baby, like they are seeing marks on the baby that they cannot explain. So I mean, it says Rosemary's Baby and Salem's Lot, so I'm like, is this an apartment full of vampires? Oh my gosh. I will not be able to contain my excitement. If you know, you know, I love vampires. I love Rosemary's Baby. It comes out on Halloween, so I will for sure be reading it in November. Next is a thriller fantasy called The Unmaking of June Pharaoh by Adrienne Young. This is about a family who has been cursed for generations, and our main character, June's mother disappeared whenever June was young, and she ended up having to go live with her grandmother, and she doesn't really know what happened, and she ends up going back home after like growing up. Her grandmother has passed away. She ends up going back home, and she like starts seeing things, and she believes that it's the curse coming to get her next. And she starts to see this door, and she thinks that what if she goes through it, will it explain this curse and explain her mom's disappearance? And she does end up going through this door that she just concocts with her mind. So I don't know where this is going to go at all. Like, I think we have a bit of mystery, for sure fantasy. It also says that there's a little bit of romance in here, so a little bit of everything, and it just sounded really good for the fall time. So, and it's a new release, so I just thought I might give it a go. Next is one that I've had on hold for a while, and it's finally available. I have it checked out, so I'm gonna be reading it in November for sure, and that is Bridge by Lauren Bukes. Now, this is a sci-fi thriller. Our main character, Bridget, but she's called Bridge, her mother has passed away, and she goes home to pack up and you know, take care of all the business that comes with a funeral. It says that a grieving daughter's search for her mother becomes a journey across alternate realities. It was a game they played, the other worlds, the other lives. It was part of her mom's grand delusions. It wasn't real, unless it was. It sounds like her mom might not actually be dead, and that she's somewhere across the universe, somewhere in another dimension, alternate reality, we don't know, but it sounds interesting and very unique, so I am excited about this one for sure. Next is Our Hideous Progyny by C.E. McGill, and it is like fantasy, gothic, historical. We have LGBTQ representation. We have all the things that you could want. I think there's like science fiction in here, all the stuff. Essentially, we have a story about this girl named Mary, and she is the great niece of Victor Frankenstein, and she and her husband are both like academics trying to like make their own name within the science world. And Mary discovers some documents that are about her great uncle's past, and it sends them on this journey to try to find more out. But then there's also more people like trying to discover the secret too, and it becomes like kind of a chase kind of thing, it sounds like. It's a sumptuous tale of ambition and obsession, a forbidden love and sabotage, and a twisty gothic adventure that may forever change your view of human nature. So it sounds so amazing. I know a lot of people are excited about this one too, and it definitely is a little bit different for me, but I absolutely love the idea of bringing in Frankenstein and kind of retelling there. So I cannot wait. I have it checked out. Next is a cozy historical fantasy, and that is The Lost Bookshop by Evie Woods. This one just sounds so cozy. I'm so excited about it. We have these three characters, and they discover this lost bookshop in Dublin, and they believe like their lives are very normal, average, not exciting. But this bookshop ends up like casting some spell. It says that these unsuspecting strangers will discover that their own stories are every bit as extraordinary as the ones found in the pages of their beloved books. And it says, and by unlocking the secrets of the shelves, they find themselves transported to a world of wonder, where nothing is as it seems. So it sounds very interesting. I'm curious about like the different worlds aspect. Like, it makes me think Page Master. So I don't know how this can be bad. It just sounds like a really cozy, wholesome time, and I am here for it. Next is one that is just short and easy and something I'm interested in, and that is the new book from Dolly Parton, Behind the Seams. And this is just about her fashion and style as an icon throughout the years. It says that it's told through entertaining personal stories, interviews with friends, and family music and archival interviews and performance clips. So we're getting like a mix of all kinds of things in here to tell the story of her own style and her fashion throughout the decades, and I'm really excited about it. Next is one I am so excited about. I did talk about this in another video previously. It might have been my like fall wish list. and that is Marina by Carlos Ruiz Savan. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I actually picked this out for my girlfriend's book club. It was my turn to pick and I chose this one. But this is a YA horror mystery, and it definitely has like the gothic horror elements to it as well. But it is based in Barcelona, and we have these kids that go to the cemetery. They watch this weird ritual that occurs there like the last Sunday of every month, and then afterwards there's this one lady like in this dark cloak, and they follow her. She's in this like weird old carriage, and they follow this lady in this cloak, and then they get transported back in time to like post-war Barcelona. And it's a world full of aristocrats and actresses and inventors and tycoons. And it says it reveals a dark secret that lies waiting in the mysterious labyrinth beneath the city streets. I just think the atmosphere is going to be killer in this, and it says that it is a cult classic, and I'm so excited to read it. It sounds right up my alley. It also sounds similar to Midnight in Paris, which is a movie that I love. Unfortunately, it's by Woody Allen, so I don't really watch it anymore, but it does sound like a Midnight in Paris, but we're in Barcelona, and it sounds a little bit spooky, so I just love that for me, and I cannot wait to read this, and I hope that the rest of the book club enjoys it. I do want to say that I was so excited to read The Reformatory by Tananarive Due, but the hold at my library is super long. I probably won't even get to it until January. And I figured I would then do like a taste test because I haven't read anything by her, and I figured I would read that and then another one of her books and do like a taste test video. But that is also coming out in November. So I just wanted to put that in this video because I'm highly excited about this book. And yeah, I just wanted to put that on your radar if you haven't heard of it yet. Next is another new release called All That Consumes Us by Erica Waters. I'm so excited about this. This is a fantasy, dark academia. There's some romance, LGBT plus representation in here. And we have this elite college, and this one student gets accepted. She's living in the dorm, and she starts writing, and she's writing a lot, but her stories are like very twisted and dark. And she starts having these weird, scary dreams, and then she also starts seeing something within the halls. So it sounds a little bit spooky. We definitely have like a gothic, dark element going on, which I love. And it turns into her trying to like figure out what's going on and understanding what is real and what isn't, and her just like grappling with reality. I'm so excited about this. I love that it's set in this college, and I just think it's perfect for November fall time read. Next is an anthology collection called The Collectors by A.S. King. We do have a lot of different authors within here, but we have this collection of stories that are about collectors and people that collect random things. But they took these stories and turned them into like a fantasy element. It sounds very interesting and kind of weird and unique, and I just thought it sounded like a good time. And it's very short. It's like 6 hours, the audiobook. I thought this would be a good one to throw in there, and maybe to read one story at a time to like break up these other books, because all the other books I'm reading are kind of longer. So yeah, that's also why I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna get to all of these, but yeah, I just thought this one sounded super unique. So November is Native American Heritage Month, so I have a few books by Indigenous and Native American authors that I wanted to get to for the month, and also maybe do a reading vlog around that as well. If you're interested in that, let me know. So we have Tread of Angels by Rebecca Roanhorse. This is a dark fantasy mystery historical fiction. Lest a card sharp with a need for justice takes on the role of Advocus Diaboli to defend her sister Mariel, accused of murdering a virtue, a member of the ruling class of this mining town, in an intricate, engrossing new world of dark fantasy from the New York Times bestselling author Alexa. It does say that's like in Colorado, but it's like a made-up place. But it's like 1883 in this mining town. Have these different ranks of society, and there's this group called the Fallen, and they are descendants of demon kind living amongst the virtues, and the virtues are like the winners of their ancient war. Descendants of both the Fallen and the virtues have decided to live in the same area, and it sounds like them trying to, I don't know if they're going to be fighting over the land or who's in charge or what is going on there, but I'm very interested in this, and it sounds very unique and different. And next is The Last Final Girl by Stephen Graham Jones. I'm a huge fan of his writing, and I haven't read this one, and I think this is one of his more popular ones, so I'm definitely going to give it a go. It's pretty short. Now, this one does sound a bit camp. I do think Stephen Graham Jones does a great job with writing campy horror. I absolutely loved The Night of the Mannequins. It was such a great time. And this one, it says that when Lindsay chooses a host of virgins, misfits, and former final girls to replace the slaughtered members of her original homecoming court, it's not just a fight for survival, it's a fight to become the last final girl. So it just sounds funny. I think we have a lot of teens running around, mischief, and there being a bit of a slasher going on, and then them also competing to see like who can be the last final girl. So that sounds right up my alley and like a really good time. And next is one that's very popular, and that is There by Tommy Orange. This has been on my radar for a minute and I just haven't gotten to it. It is a literary fiction, essentially a story of all of these people within this Native American community and like how their lives come together and their stories collide. It says that it tells of the plight of the urban Native American grappling with a complex and painful history with an inheritance of beauty and spirituality, with communion and sacrifice and heroism. I mean, this can only be amazing, and I mean, everyone says that it is, so I hope I can get to it. Next is one from last month that I did not get to, and I do have it checked out, so I'm gonna try to get to it like right off the bat in November, and that is House of Hunger by Alexis Henderson. This is a fantasy, dark, gothic horror fiction, but it is about a blood maid. We have vampires, and this blood maid to this vampire goes and she works for like the most elite vampire around, and then she ends up learning some of their secrets, and it turns into like a game of cat and mouse. It's like the synopsis is very mysterious, but I'm kind of glad that it's like that. But you know me, I love vampires, and that's what it seems like is going on here. So I can't wait to finally read this. I'm definitely gonna get to it. Next is a book of short stories by S.J. Sindhu, and it's called The Goth House Experiment. This is a collection of stories about like loners and artists and kind of like weird, strange kids, which I absolutely love that premise of it. It also says that it has some really good like queer representation in here, but it's like perfect for like dark academia as well. So hitting the boxes, sounds perfect for November and just sounds right up my alley and like a really good time. I am excited to give this a go. It's super short also, so if you're looking for something like quick and easy to get through, I would definitely check this out. But next up, we have A Study in Drowning by Ava Reed. This one's highly anticipated. Everyone's trying to read this, I know. And it's perfect for this time of year. It's a YA historical folklore fantasy. It is dark academia as well. But we have this girl named Effie who, hello skins, if you know, you know. We have this girl named Effie who has always believed in fairy tales. It says that she's haunted by visions of the fairy king since childhood. She's had no choice. Her tattered copy of Angarad, which is an epic story about a mortal girl who falls in love with a fairy king, then destroys him, is the only thing keeping her afloat. But this author of this book that she loves, his family have announced, it says that they have announced a contest to redesign the late author's estate, and Effie feels certain it's her destiny. It says that this manor is like an impossible task, and it's far from welcoming. She ends up working with this like other scholar to kind of piece together the history of this mansion and this estate. There is a legacy of dark forces, both mortal and magical, and they are conspiring against them. I think this sounds so good, interesting, and definitely kind of like fascinating. I love the idea of like a chance to go redesign his manor and estate, and there's lots lurking beneath, and I wonder like if this epic novel that she loved by this author is actually has some like truth behind it. So we'll see. I think everyone's excited about this one and I can't wait to read it. I think for the atmosphere alone, it'll be a huge hit. Next is one that I had checked out previously. I'd spoken about it, I think in like July or August, but there was no way I was going to get to it. So I returned it and put it back on hold, and the hold has been forever. It's taken a long time and it should be ready in November, but that is A Most Agreeable Murder by Julia Seals. Now this is just like cozy, silly, romance, cute, but we have a a bit of a mystery here. We have this girl who loves true crime and like solving mysteries. She's also young and trying to find a bachelor and someone to be with. But we have this wealthy bachelor that ends up dropping dead at a ball, and our main character is like, well, I'm gonna solve this murder because she loves like solving and doing true crime stuff. It says that it's an action-packed debut comedy of manners and murder, which sounds so much fun and just cute, cozy, and like a good time. And it also says that like there's an autumnal ball that takes place in here, so perfect for the season, and I'm really excited to finally read this. Next is First Frost by Sarah Addison Allen. This is the second book in the Waverly Sisters duology, and the first one is Garden Spells, which I did enjoy. I read it in like spring, summer, and it's just like really cozy, wholesome, but there's still a bit of like magic and a little bit of like suspense to it too, or like darkness with one of the story points. We have these sisters who grew up in this town, and they have this garden that is full of like magical plants. Specifically, they have this apple tree that if you eat the apple, you can like see your future, and it can either like hinder a lot of things. It can either be great for you or like destroy your life from what you see after taking a bite from the apple. And this one's called First Frost, so we're actually like right in like October, November, autumn, and around the time that it starts to get cooler outside. So I think the atmosphere will be there and it'll be really good. And it sounds like more just following these sisters. One's really wanting a kid, and just like them like finding themselves, finding their power, and also like their relationships, and trying to start families and things like that. So it's kind of cozy, but they do tend to have a few heavier topics in there, which I enjoy, and I just love like a little witchy read. And the last one on my list is a horror that I've been interested in for a minute, and that is Boys in the Valley by Philip Fracassi. I hope I'm saying that correctly. But this is about an orphanage that is like a Catholic orphanage. And at this orphanage, this group of men arrive, and they show up. They're like wounded. They have occult symbols on their arms and carved into their flesh. That the guy with like all of these wounds and carvings, he does pass. And it says that it releases an ancient evil that spreads like sickness, infecting St. Vincent's and the children within. Soon, boys begin acting differently, forming groups, taking sides. Others turn up dead. So it just sounds scary, mysterious. I love that we're in this orphanage, like that kind of setting. It sounds very interesting to me. And I've heard really good things about this, and I can't wait to give it a go. All right, my friends, so that was the list. That's my TBR for November. I'm sure some of these I'll read and some of them I won't, and some I might push back, but most of these I should be getting to. I still have a good mix of horror and fantasy. I am surprised about how many fantasies I have on hold and to check out. I think it'll be a nice switch up though from all the scary horror that I've been reading the past couple of months leading up to Halloween. So I'm excited for that. And also a lot of them are dark academia. They still have like that spooky element going on with them, but with a little bit more of a fantasy realm going on. I will of course be featuring these in reading vlogs, and of course my monthly wrap-ups. So if you are interested in any of these and just other bookish content, please subscribe. That would help me a lot, and like this video, and I would love to see you here in a video in the future. Again, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. If you have any questions or recommendations for me, please put them below. I would love to chat, and I hope to see you here in a video in the future. I hope you have the best spooky day.